Hello everyone, I am Bradley Sward, Associate Professor of Computer and Information Science at the College of DuPage, Glen Ellen, Illinois. This video today shows a solution for Day 16, Part 2 of the 2021 Advent of Code. The problem is called Packet Decoder, and there are already two previous videos, Part 0 and Part 1, for wanting to take a look. And so Part 1 for me, as you can see from my other videos, was a little challenge. I made it more of a challenge than it needed to be. My understanding of the problem and all these, I just made these extra zeros just a problem that didn't truly exist. And so once I thought outside of that and kind of changed my code around to consider that, everything just kind of slipped on in. So now for Part 2, you kind of get rid of the idea of keeping track of all the version numbers. That was just to make sure everything was kind of getting decoded correctly. And then now we're going to use those literal values because this whole thing can be a math operation. So, or just if you want like a computer program, it's almost like an assembly language in a way, right? So like all these packets are doing different things with different values and different stuff. So we might be using this for the last in the last couple puzzles. A couple of years ago they did that where they had puzzles build on each other. They might do that here. I don't know. We'll find out in the near future. But so the idea here is everything else kind of stays the same like we did before, but now instead of keeping track of the version numbers, especially for like the ones that are like sub packets and things like that, all I'm going to do is maintain a list of all the values of all the sub packets, and then from there we'll be able to do the math operations we're supposed to. So if it's a packet type 0, you do sum, packet type 1, product, minimum, maximum, greater than, less than, equal to. So there's still room for a couple more. There's still room for 8 and 9, but who knows if that's going to come up. So I've tested all this out. I do get all the correct answers, and let me show you how. Okay, so just like before here, now I'm importing math for some of the functionality, but basically take my file and bring it in and convert it from hex to binary as a string. And so the doIt function, this basically stays the same, everything when it comes to the literal value part. And this is where things change now on the end of what happens when it's not one of those literal value parts. And so they say changed a little bit here, but you can see this numbers list, because here it says, okay, I want to, it tells me how many bytes of or how many bits of subpackets there are. And so basically I'm getting information, I'm getting a packet information, I'm getting the value back from that packet, and then instead of just summing up the packet IDs or whatever it was from previous, now I'm taking those values and putting them into a list. And I will process the list down below. You can see that stuff here. And the same goes for this now, where instead of having the number of bits, this is just to tell me how many subpackets there are. So it's this, the stuff inside the loop is exactly the same. It's just a matter of how we're ranging out the loop so that we can get in and out. But once we've like either processed like the 27 bytes or 27 bits or 3 elements or whatever it is we're trying to do, we have a list of numbers in order in which that they came back, and now it's a matter of taking a look at those pieces of data. So we're saying if the packet type ID was a 0, we just sum up all the numbers, and I'm returning the index to the next to where the next element, or at least the next thing, has to be processed. So I think I have to do that because I've been using that for a lot of these places. I can't imagine not being able to use that or being able to get rid of that. But if it's type 1, I use the product function, which isn't part of the standard language, but it's part of the math functionality. Get the minimum of the numbers if it's a 2, get the maximum numbers if it's a 3, return a true for a 1 if it's greater than, otherwise a 0, and then return a 1 if this is less than, otherwise a 0, and return a 1 if this is equal, otherwise a 0. And that, I did not change anything else down here. Everything, not that there's much more to go off of, but that's the whole idea here, is that I get, say, if I get the subpackets, I get the numbers from the subpackets, and then I do stuff with them. And when I do this, I get a value of, you can see here, this number. How big is that? 819 something, right? And when you go into my stuff here, oops, you can see that the answer is correct for that. Let's see. Ends in 368, ends in 368. So yep, that covers everything when it comes to this video. Day 16 is complete, thank God. And it's a little early for me now, so good. So got it done around noon. So looking forward. Am I looking forward to day 17? These problems are. This one was pretty straightforward. I know I could look into bit packets or bit strings and all sorts of different things to make this work, but I don't mind a straightforward solution, especially if it was heavily commented to explain what was going on and there was documentation for it. Seems like it would be easier to update and maintain, especially for those quote-unquote junior programmers who don't understand all these fancy Python idioms. Anyway, so if you have any questions or if you know a better way to do this, please let me know in the comments below. Look forward to future videos, seeing you guys, talking to you guys. So take care, take it easy, and I'll see you then.